Hi everyone, it's Ian from QTips. And the other day I was wondering about when the next solar eclipse or full solar eclipse would be in South Africa. And I Googled it and it gave me the date of the 25th of November and 2030. Okay, there, I've already typed it in there. Solar eclipse. So I thought I wanted to see what that path was. And so I thought what I can do is I can actually georeference. I can download an image or capture or clip an image, download it, georeference it, and then be able to digitize that path. So what I'm going to do in this video is do a little exercise where I georeference an image in QGIS and then also capture polygons. So let's have a look at the images and see what would be a useful image to capture. So here is one here. Are there any other better ones further down? This one's actually pretty good. Let's use a more generalized one just for this exercise. So we'll select this one. Let's go and visit that site. Scroll down. Okay, so I'm going to get a screenshot of this image. So now getting a screenshot's pretty easy. I'm using Windows 11 and I just push print screen here, and then it's going to copy that image to the clipboard. Well, it's going to give me the opportunity to capture it, and then I'll copy it to the clipboard. So now I just need to draw a box. So this is Windows 11. So I draw a box over the section of the screen I want a screenshot of. Now that's copied to my clipboard. And then I'm going to use, you can use any image processing software, and I'm using GIMP just to convert that or save it as a JPEG. So in GIMP, which is an open source software solution for, it's like an answer to Photoshop, I guess. It's probably not as technical as Photoshop, but it's a pretty powerful tool. So I'm going to say File, Create, and then from Clipboard, there's my image. And then I'm just going to save that. Actually, maybe I can get rid of that section there quickly. Let's just add a new, where is it? Add a new, no, not a group layer. I want to add a new layer. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'm going to get that color on my little eyedropper or my color picker, and then I'll just draw a small box there like that. And I mean, there's many ways you can do this. This is just the way I'm doing it. And I'm going to color everything in, and then I'm going to right click and say I want to squash that down, merge down. There we go. And then I'm going to select nothing. Okay, so I've just removed that section. Okay, so let's go then and save this as a JPEG. So I'm going to export as, and then I want to go to the desktop. I've created a folder on my desktop called Solar Eclipse, and let's call this let's maybe Eclipse path. There we go. PNG is fine, actually. Yeah, you can add a PNG to QGIS. You could use a JPEG as well, or TIFF. PNGs are quite nicely compressed, so let's just leave it as a PNG and say export, and then export. And then I would expect you, if you don't have Eclipse but you have your own software processing tools, you can take your screenshot and do something very similarly to what I've just done there. So now we can go to QGIS. So I'm using, what am I using here? It's QGIS version 3.34 Prizerin. Okay, so this is currently it's the most recent long-term release version of QGIS. So that's what I'm using for this exercise. Now the Georeferencer used to have to turn it on as a plugin, but now it comes standard. It's always turned on, and it used to be under the raster menu. Okay, it's now under the layers menu. See, there we go, Georeferencer. So let's turn that on. Did I turn that on? Georeferencer. Ah, see, I've got a graphic issue. That's not good. Let's actually just see if this changes things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my display settings. I'm going to change the scale down to 100, which is recommended. Let's try that again. Where's my Georeferencer? Georeferencer. Oh, maybe that's not the problem. Maybe I just need to turn it on as a window. So I've just right clicked and panel. Where's Georeferencer panel? Oh, there it is there. Okay, let's clear this, reset the Georeferencer. Did that work? Yes. Okay, so now I can actually go back and maybe change my screen back up to 125% so that things are a little bigger. Okay, there we go. So my georeferencer wasn't coming up. All I did is I just right clicked up on my toolbar and I went to panels and I turned the georeferencer panel on. I thought it would have come up anyway if I just clicked on georeferencer here. So that is a bit odd that it did not turn on. Anyway, you can view it now. So now your georeferencer you can have as a floating window, maybe on a second monitor, or you can have it like I've got it here. So if we go to settings and then there's a georeferencer setting down here, you can select show georeferencer window docked. And that's the option I've chosen, and then it docks it. So now you've got half of your map view is shared with the georeferencer. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to add that image. So before I do that, I'm going to add a quick map services layer that is a good georeferencing point. Well, we'll have ground control points that we can use when we compare the image I've just captured. So let's go with OpenStreetMap standard. There we go. Okay, I think that'll work. And now we need to turn on that image. So we're going to open up that image we've just captured. So I'm going to go open raster. So this is in the georeferencer now. And then we want to go to desktop, next to Eclipse, and then select your image. So mine's the PNG. Open that up. There it is. So now we are going to georeference this image using a layer that already has locations or points that are captured. Now, I mean, this is georeferenced already, essentially. Now, you don't have to specifically use a raster or base layer from Quick Map Services. You can have control points to georeference an image. And in this example, we're just going to use the boundary of South Africa as best we can. So now the resolution of the image we're georeferencing is actually not that high. So when we zoom in, you'll see it does get a little bit pixelated. That's fine. We're just going to kind of generalize and get an idea. So now you want to choose this little button here to add a point. So now this is the first point we're going to georeference. And then you get this window pop up and it says, well, what do you want to do? We want to capture it from map canvas. Now you can type in the points you want to georeference, but we're going to capture from map canvas. And now we go back to our map view and I'm just going to scroll in, and because it's not 100% accurate, I'm just going to give the general ballpark area here, which is strictly speaking not the best, but it'll be fine for this demonstration. So then we can say okay, and that's our first ground control point captured. And if we had our little ground control point tables opened, where is the table? I think show coordinates, is it that one? Okay. Oh no, there's the actual coordinates, that's fine. What is the other option? Window docked. I think we're going to turn those off. Say okay. See, my table's not showing. Let's see. Load. View. Maybe I need to right click. Oh, there we go. So I just right click on my toolbar up here and I select ground control point table. So now there's a table. There's our first point captured. Okay, so if you had quite a few points, that would all be listed here. So I just wanted to show you that there is a ground control point table that you can view. I'm going to close that and then go and select my second ground control point. Now I see up here by the Horn of Africa, that's quite nice because quite a distinctive point. So I'm going to capture my second one there from map canvas. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom into the Horn of Africa. It's that little section there. And okay, so now we've got two ground control points. Now when you're georeferencing anything, it's best to get a wide spread of your ground control points. If they're all localized around the center of your image, it won't georeference that well. It's best to get a wide spread of them, and you know, almost like the four corners of a square, if depending on what type of transformation settings you're using. But these two are pretty wide and far apart, which is great. Let's go look somewhere else, maybe up here where this country boundary is. From map canvas, what is that country? There's two countries there. It is Liberia and no, not Nigeria, hey? Anyway, this is our little boundary down here. And then say okay, and then there's one last point. Maybe we'll use Cape Town or Cape Agulhas. Sort of Cape Agulhas down here. Don't know what that one is there. This is Cape Agulhas down here. That is sort of a more generalized area. Okay, and what is... Okay, there we go. Okay, now you see this little RMS error message here. It's basically saying that there's a slight discrepancy, and that's quite... it's reasonable to expect that because I've just been winging it here. But those 4 ground control points will be great for georeferencing. So now what I want to do is I want to choose the transformation settings for this. So I'm going to click on my little transformation settings cog or gear. And there's different types you can use. If you use the linear one, what you can do is just create a world file, which will then create a little text file that goes along with the image that you are georeferencing. Or you can transform it and create a whole new image. And the nice thing about the polynomial option is that it'll give you a rotation as well, whereas the linear little world file doesn't give you the opportunity to rotate it. So I'm going to choose polynomial 1, and polynomial 1, 2, and 3, they just they're slightly different in that polynomial 3, I think you need 9, a minimum of 9 control points, whereas polynomial 1, 4 control points is fine. So I'm going to select polynomial 1, and nearest neighbor is fine. I'm not going to worry about a compression. It's going to put it in the exact same folder with a slightly different name. I'm going to accept all of that, load when done, and then say okay. Okay, so now I've set up my transformation settings. Now I actually need to run the georeferencer. So if I click on this little green arrow, start georeferencing, boom, that was really quick. Now let's just turn on the georeferenced image, turn it on and off, and you can see that it's pretty close. Okay, so I'm just flicking it on and off, and you can see that well, if we zoom in a little bit, it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. Now you could take more time, get a better resolution image, and then work on your georeferencing to get a better georeferenced image, but that is basically how it's done. So I'm going to accept that this is happy for my purposes, and I'm going to turn off the georeferencer. So I'm going to go to File, Close Georeferencer, and discard the ground control points. Yep, I don't need to keep them. So I'm going to say discard, and that can travel. All right, so now I have my path, which, bearing in mind, mine's not 100% georeferenced accurately enough. So my path might be slightly off, but that's fine. We're going to be there and thereabouts. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to capture a new GeoPackage layer. So I'm going to click on New GeoPackage Layer, and then I want to navigate to that desktop next to Eclipse. Let's just call this Solar Eclipse, save, and this can be Solar Eclipse. This can be the, actually this can be the Eclipse path. Geometry type, it needs to be a polygon. We can use the coordinate reference system EPSG 4326, which is a geographic name. Okay, so now this is where you get the opportunity to create your fields. What we can have a name, I guess, and we'll just give it 25 characters, but then I want date, and then I'll select date and add fields, and those are the only 2 fields I'm going to create. You can create a lot more depending on what you want to capture, and then I'm going to say okay. Okay, so what happens is it adds a new polygon layer to the project, but nothing in it. So if we open up the attribute table, you'll see that there is nothing in the attribute table because we haven't captured anything yet. There are no records because there are no features, or there are no features meaning there are no records. Let's go and capture our first one, or the only one, which is our little path for South Africa, 25th November 2030. Okay, so let's toggle editing, and then we'll use this little option to add a polygon feature, and we'll zoom in slightly, and then we'll just go right to the edge, and then as it curves, we'll just try and capture the edge of this path. It doesn't have to be too accurate. I suppose we could have spent more time getting a better image, but this should be fine. Now I think this eclipse on the 25th of November goes all the way to Australia, so what you could maybe do is then georeference the section for Australia and then digitize that section as well. Okay, then right click to finish. It's going to ask, it's going to create an ID for the FID. Name, we'll just call it South African eclipse, and then the date, which is the 2030. It was November 25th. And okay. And we can turn that off. And there it is. So let's save that. And let's have a look. So if you want to go and witness that eclipse, where do you need to go? Where can you go and have a little holiday? So it's probably school exams around about that time. But if your holiday has ended on the 25th of November, lucky you, you can go and, well, I suppose you're not at school anymore. It's going to be in 5 years' time, assuming. Okay, so let's have a look. Eclipse path. Let's go and just edit the symbology quickly. And what shall we do? Let's turn off the edge. So we'll select simple fill and say no line. And then for the fill color, let's make it like maybe a magenta, but I want it to be transparent so I can see through it. So I'm just going to choose this option down there. And then we can close that down. And then because we've got the OpenStreetMap layer added, you can see what it's going to overlap with. But maybe what should we do? We'll go Google Hybrid, turn that off. And then if you want to be down here in Natal, you can go to Durban. Belita is a good spot, quite close to the middle. Zinkwazi is actually a really good spot as well. Or anywhere up through Natal, up into tiny bit of, I'm not too sure, Lesotho Highlands are going to be a good idea. Where else have we got? Kroonstad, Klerksdorp right in the middle, great place for a holiday. And you can go, well, I mean, we're going all the way through Botswana here. It also clips a bit of Namibia. Doesn't. Okay, so that's it. So that's the next time we're having a full solar eclipse in South Africa. You can plan your holiday accordingly if you map it out this way. Okay, so that's a little task, and that's a little tutorial. I wanted to show you the georeferencer and then also how to capture a polygon using the GeoPackages. But that's it. Anyway, hope it's been useful. Till next time, cheers.